quoting Professor Alhaji Njai. Telling people to move on without healing is like telling them to accept wrongful acts. Melvin, this is a quote from Professor Alhaji Njai, who is also a political analyst as you are. What's your take regarding this statement?
These are the few Sierra Leoneans that can speak their minds and speak truth to power, irrespective of what one feels. I think that's the right message that we need now. Everybody's saying, hey, let's move on. Nobody's going to tell us what we should do. We should go past that. Let them be here. Let them go court. Those are all not the right messages. The right messages are we should take an introspection as to where we got it wrong. All right? For ECSL, were there any things that were done wrong? If there were, how can they be salvaged? That is part of the healing process. For the APC, are their concerns justifiable? If they are, how we can fix them up? For the international community, they are raising several concerns. Come to the table and discuss. That is the healing process. The healing process takes dialogue. It takes mediation. It takes reconciliation. It takes political horse trading. And in the situation, if people begin to, especially for the media, I see a lot of agenda setting around how we should accept things as they are and let's move on. Yes, for the establishments, that's what they want us to do. To just pretend as if nothing happened during the election. That would be a facade. That would be a big mistake to attempt as if nothing went wrong during the 2023 elections. And I'm sure even our president himself is mindful of that. That's why he's sending emissaries of peace. So I think Dr. Njai is making the right point that we must address the unresolved issues if we don't want to come back at this point. If not, even if we make false reconciliation, in my opinion, we'll have to revert back to the unfinished businesses. So I think this guy, we need him at the top class level. It should be part of decision making in this country because he's not just an academic like many of our academics here in Sierra Leone. They are very good academics, but their education is not transforming society. Is that what Socrates once said? The essence of education is not knowledge, but for people to transform their societies. In Sierra Leone, we have a lot of bookmen as SO2, but ask what they have been doing. Yes, for the lecturers, they are imparting knowledge, but in other countries, they are coming out with research. They are coming out with new ideas. And I think that's what is embodied in Dr. Njai. He understands not what he was taught in 1960 or 1970 or 1990, but he's contemporizing education. That's what we need, and that's the right message. You cannot have the kind of peace we are all yearning for if we fail to address the issues of disagreement, the issues of disputes, and all the issues that are attendant. That takes time, I agree, but you cannot ignore them or sweep them under the carpet. And I think I will agree with him.
Yes, Alhaji Saidu Kamara, what's your take? Telling the people to move on without healing is like telling them to accept wrongful acts. In this situation, what's your take regarding Professor Alhaji Njai's quote?
Well, Professor Njai, a man I've known for a long time, and I believe in terms of his educational background, and imparting education, looking at it contemporarily, I think he has made a lot of move. When you talk about educations, you must have to move with research. Has done a lot for young Sierra Leoneans, you understand? For the first time, taking Sierra Leoneans to do a research move in his home district, Koinadogo. Most of the students were amazed because that was the first time, in fact, they were able to see what is happening there, imparting to them knowledge to see how best we are going to move this nation forward. It's very important. And now, talking about the governance, you see, you cannot say that, okay, you are also a lecturer, but you have to provide solutions when we are in a statement, when you're having a crisis. What are we going to provide so that we can move forward? That is exactly what we have seen. Let us come together and see how best we are going to dialogue, mediate, and resolve the issue, the impasses, so that we will all come together. Because at the end of the day, we are all Sierra Leoneans, irrespective of our differences. We are all Sierra Leoneans and we want to move this country. And that's exactly what Professor Njai is looking at, so that we can come together, address our issues, and find out where we have the lapses and try to address those issues once and for all, so that we cannot go back where we went wrong. It's very, very important. Well, I hope that people will take to his advice so that we will all come together and move this nation forward. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable. Should we move on or, and accept wrongful acts, or should we dialogue? Should we try to resolve? What's your take regarding Professor Njai's statement?
Well put and said. That is, if you don't have justice, how do you, you see, you don't want to address the issue. That was what I was saying about justice. So many from day one, look at the way some of these things was passed in Parliament. That was a wrong move, but we say let it go. Second, the result has been made. What we should do is we should not take things, say, below beer. But to address it, because when we mentioned of this dialogue, I think, you saw we had divergent views. But at the same time, if we don't address the issue, how do you find solution? Look at the peace and reconciliation. It took how many years? Over 30 years after the war came in, we started giving recommendations. Just like what I mentioned to my young friend that I said, the speaker has the right to do it, but is meddling in our own political affairs. That is why sometimes when we look at the laws we are passing, or within the constitution of the political parties, it is based on the whims and caprices of the leader. And so to tell truth to power, that means we should make sure we address the justice part of this thing. This whole thing is a societal problem. But let us make sure, talk to whose side the two come inside. If not the electoral commission, but sometimes to get permanent peace, you have to throw certain individual under the bus. To get certain, because these are some of the people, the players. If you don't throw them under the bus, you can't get more police, because by being there, it shows perpetuity of injustice.
Yes, quickly, Melvin. You know, there is this issue with regards to the All People's Congress saying that the judiciary is not credible. They don't have trust in the judiciary to take their cases. How do you think this can be discussed?
We don't have any other judiciary. It's the same judiciary. We can only decide to reform it and depoliticize it and build public trust in it, but there is no other option. Even if you want to take the road to the ECOWAS court, they will first ask you, have you sought redress in your national judiciary? So for me, I think that's not a wise decision on the part of the APC. Yes, I can understand that they have, what I would call, huge mistrust in the judiciary, fine. But, this is the judiciary we have. And for me, I think that is not, if I were a political advisor to the APC or a legal advisor, if I was a lawyer, I would tell them to go to the court. And I'm sure that's what people like JFK and others have been saying. If you don't go to the courts, where else will you want to go? And what are you going to use tomorrow to say it was wrong or it was right? Or even if it was right and made wrong, but it was wrong but made right. So it's a missed opportunity, and the 7 days period has elapsed, and the judiciary, unfortunately, itself plunge itself into the morass of politicking. If you look at the statements of the judiciary, yes, in as much as they were debunking some of the what they call misinformation of the APC, but in so doing they expose themselves to what is being seen as politicization. It was very irrelevant and unnecessary for our judiciary to have said, oh, this justice was the Chief Justice who was appointed under Anesbai Kuroma. What message were they attempting to convey? To say this is SLPP judiciary and that is APC judiciary? Don't we have a judiciary of Sierra Leone? So for me, yes, they went overboard in answering or replying to the APC. An institution, no matter what you say about ECSL, that institution is full of professionals. Read their rebuttals to what the APC said. They never mentioned that, oh, it was under Christian Atop or Ifa. No, for me, that is the lowest of the judiciary can condescend itself.
And the way the leaders were putting the case across.
It was so, I think we need more professional communicators in that judiciary. Of course, they need to at least borrow the service of Albert Massakoy or somebody at ECSL, but that statement, they need to have a rethink. It was too politically visible.
Is it possible for them to go and rethink, so have, in terms of compromise, to go to the court?
They cannot be at war with a political party. The judiciary is an independent institution of the state. The APC will not win a war against the judiciary, but similarly...
quickly, let's hold it there. Okay, let's hold it there.
This is the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Joseph Ebinda Kapua. Here is a public notice from the Office of the President. The general public is hereby informed that it has pleased His Excellency the President Brigadier Retired Dr. Julius Madabio to announce the following appointments. Appointments to Cabinet. Dr. David Moinina Senge, Chief Minister. Mr. Mohammed Lamin Tarawali, Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Mr. Sheku Ahmed Fantamadi Bangura, Minister of Finance. Mr. Timothy Musa Kaba, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Haja Dr. Ramatulai Wuri, Minister of Technical and Higher Cooperation. Mr. Conrad Saki, Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. Mr. Ibrahim Alpha Sisi, Minister of Trade and Industry. Mr. Julius Matai, Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. Ms. Manti Tarawali, Minister of State, Office of the Vice President. Mrs. Geneba Bangura, Deputy Minister 1, Ministry of Finance. Mr. Bokari Kaloko, Deputy Minister 2, Ministry of Finance. Mrs. Frances Piegi Algali, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Mr. Sajo Aziz Kamara, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. Mrs. Emily K. Gogra, Deputy Minister 1, Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. Mrs. Mamusu Masakoi, Deputy Minister 2, Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. Mrs. Fatmata Wuri, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. Mr. Umaru Napoleon Kuruma, Deputy Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. Other appointments. Mr. Matthew Dingy, Financial Secretary. Mr. Yankuba Askia Bio, General Manager, Sierra Leone Ports Authority. Mrs. Judith Kose, Deputy Director General, Sierra Leone Ports Authority. Mr. Brahma Soare, Commissioner General, National Revenue Authority. Mrs. Anne-Marie Hardin, Deputy Commissioner General 1, National Revenue Authority. Mr. Gerard Ganda, Deputy Commissioner 2, National Revenue Authority. Mr. Amara Brewa, Director General, National Communications Authority. Mrs. Mariama Kuruma, Deputy Director General, National Communications Authority. That's the end of the public notice from the Office of the President, and this is signed by Dr. Julius F. Sandy, Secretary to the President. This is the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Continue to stay with us. My name is Joseph Egbenda Kapua.
All right, welcome back. And of course, that was just a break, to get that announcement from State House. And that has been an announcement for the new appointees or cabinet ministers and also other appointments. I will start with you. I will continue the show. It's getting very much interesting. A very special edition of Front Page on Salon Decide set. And of course, Salon still decides. And I will start with you, Melvin. We see the new appointments. I was so amazed to get the first appointment that the former Minister of Basic and Senior Education, Dr. David Moinina Senge, has now been appointed as the new Chief Minister. And of course, Timothy Kaba, who was the Mines Minister, is now the new Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and also the former Deputy Minister of Justice, Napoleon Kuma, is now the Deputy Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. What's your take? I'll start with you, Melvin.
We should go to the missing names.
Yeah.
I stand to be argued.
I have been the very first and sustained advocate that based on performance, David Moinina Senge deserves a double promotion. And this is not personal, but I feel like some of the things that we are saying is making sense to somebody out there.
Yes.
So congratulations to David Moinina Senge and President Bio. If there is anything pegged on performance, I think that is deserving for David Moinina Senge. And to the Attorney General, I think this is now no excuse time. Gone are those days for you to be tabling legislations in Parliament without crossing your I's and dotting your T's. So you have been given what I'll call another opportunity to prove yourself. Fantamadi Bangura is surviving again. And nobody should be surprised. And why? Because he came late into that Ministry of Finance after JJ and others have failed. And if you're going to see shortly that JJ is no more there, I am not happy. But I'll come to some facts quickly. Fantamadi instituted some policies ahead of the elections that we're going to watch him closely. That on the dollarization policy and how the price went down so steeply. Yeah. So we want to see now whether he's got the magic. Before, one will argue that he had limited time. Now we are seeing him coming to take that. An interesting swap there, Timothy Kaba, Minister of Mines. He came to Parliament with several legislations. Unfortunately, he suffered a fatal road accident. In fact, he had to sort surgery abroad. Yeah. And he's coming back. And coming back as what? Minister of Foreign Affairs. Yes, so what happens to the holder of that position? Nothing is hard. I don't want to make mention of that name. I am really surprised about this one because I was expecting, because of that UN non-permanent seat, that person there you have been given. I don't want to make mention of the name of that person.
It's a popular name.
Of course, it's a popular name, and it's an open secret that it's, of course, Professor David Francis. In fact, he is with President Bio at ECOWAS. Yeah. And now this announcement, so that was his last official duty. So Timothy Kaba has got an accurate task there. But guess what? He's coming to that office with an advantage. He is knowledgeable in several languages. Timothy Kaba. Yes, he can speak Arabic, French, English, several other languages. So he's coming to the office perhaps that is best fitted. And we are seeing, Conrad Saki. He was there. Ibrahim Alpha Sise, of course, this trade minister, everybody knew he was going to go. But what is Sise bringing into the table? We'll need to look at the CV. So now our work starts as parliamentary journalists looking at some of those CVs. Julius Matai. Julius Matai has been the fighter of almost all the mines ministers. And he's finally coming to that seat. I look forward. This guy knows everything. He's an expert in almost everything. If you place him there to talk, he can talk on everything. So now the buck is, mind you, it was between Julius Matai and Rado Yoki. We don't have all the facts that Rado Yoki was replaced and was removed and replaced with Timothy Kaba. So now it's clear that this guy is an enigmatic figure. So everybody wants to see what will Julius Matai take to the Ministry of Mines, him being another interesting demotion is Manti Tarawali, Minister of State now in the Office of the Vice President. He used to serve as the Minister of Gender Affairs. Yeah. He piloted the GW bill. Unfortunately, I think she's been demoted. Jennifer Bangura.
So you think that as a demotion?
Well, in my estimation, although the salary I don't know, but if you've been a full portfolio holder and you've been reduced to a Minister of State, well, for me, if you are holding a primary ministry or a secondary ministry, it makes a difference. But of course, Francis, so many names. Napoleon is being taken. This is the lawyer coming to turn a minor. I wait to see what he will do. But he's not only much there.
Yes.
He's not only much there because he has got his superior, who in this case is the deputy. Matai. So for me, Interestingly, shuffling, the names that are missing, so many big names are
So many-
gone.
we'll come to
the
that,
likes
to
of
the
the
missing names
JJ,
later on.
the
Yes,
likes of the many big names. I don't
Yes,
want to mention.
Alhaji, Saidu.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I think I want to thank His Excellency the President.
Hello.
These announcements shows that the President is a listening president, talking about empowering women. As you can see, he appoints various women in various positions. You understand? This shows that he's listening to the people. Now, looking at the ministers, I admire this appointment in the person of Conrad Sake. He was in charge of TEC, Tertiary Education. Yeah, TEC, you understand? He was there as the head, as the executive chairman. And now he has replaced Dr. David Moina Senge, as Minister of Basic Education. That man is a very hardworking man, very articulate and know what to do, you understand? And I'm sure he's going to make a difference there. Then looking at the Minister of Foreign Affairs, okay, we should not make any surprise. For some of us who know Timothy Kaba, is a very young and dedicated man. He was appointed as Minister of Mines at the age of 32 by His Excellency. And now, he has now been promoted to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Of course, he also vast in various knowledge. He can speak French fluently, Russian, Arabic, and English. And even our national language. This man is also fluent in Mende, Timni, Mandingo, Soso, and Fula, right? So going down to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I'm sure he'll make an impact. I'm happy he's now responding for medical treatment as he was involved in a very ghastly road accident. It affected his feet, but he's making some impact. I'm sure he's going to make there. Pantamadi Bangura, who has been the Minister of Foreign Affairs, also survived and is deputy in the person of Kaloko. They are also there working. And then you have Mrs. Geneba Bangura, who was the Deputy Commissioner General of NRA. She's now moved to the Ministry of Finance, okay? That's a good blend, going to make some amount of effort to prove. But from looking at it appears that there are certain ministries the President did not name or appoint. So maybe there will be another second batch where we are going to know the other people in the other ministries like Defense, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Works. You understand? Okay, yeah, but you have to make that pronouncement, you understand? But so far, you understand, it shows that a good number of women will be appointed in various positions, which I believe that shows that the President is listening to what the people are saying. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Bamichidi.
Well, I just want to congratulate because we're talking about this chief minister's status. That is, the chief minister's responsibility is to monitor and evaluate performances of the minister, and he's a very good, calculated man. But to me, at the end of the day, I want to congratulate them for their performance, but at the same time, cautiously waiting to see in the first 3 months of their performance the direction they are going. That's why I'll congratulate them, and I say cautiously waiting to see some of the direction they're going to take us.
All right, I think we've listened to the names, and of course, Melvin, I'll come over to you. You know, we are talking about inclusion. We were expecting some inclusion from either the opposition or, as you said, from people who are not even APC or SLPP, but they are Sierra Leoneans who are professionals and can perform well. We have not seen the entire list, or maybe they have not called all the names. You know, the president have not called all the names or put out all the names. What's your take regarding this with regards to inclusion and with regards to cohesion?
Well, for the sake of being factual, I will want to be very limited in my opinion on that, since the full list is yet to be out. But of course, the regional balanced nature is one thing that we should be having a spectacle on in this new announcement. Women's inclusivity. Yeah. Of course, we had a good number of women names already being announced, and certainly, I think. Yes, there are certain names, of course, that have been omitted that somebody is going to turn the header to them tomorrow in the newspapers. But for me now, what I will focus my attention on is the fact that what are the qualifications of those people, particularly the new names. There are relative new names coming in or being announced, and who are these people, what have been their performances, and what's their track record in public life. So the job begins now in probing their CVs. Are some of them diasporans? Are some of them, you know, we need several considerations now, but of course, seeing the full list, for me, I can't be overwhelmed. It shows that we will still need to talk about performing and underperforming ministers. And I think, yes, now I will shift my focus in what kind of cabinet we should be having on, what kind of cabinet we should be having now to what will be their deliverables in the first 100 days in office. For me, that's where I will shift my focus now, because it's obvious that some of the significant ministries are now going to be manned by persons. Some of them were in governance in the last cabinet, and others are now coming in brand new. So what happened? What are they bringing into the table? What difference are they going to create in 100 days, let's say, in office? For me, as a journalist, that's what I'll be looking at their CVs, looking at how they're going to be questioned in parliament. In fact, this can be more reason now that the APC should want to be in parliament, because they should be members of the Committee on Appointment and Public Services, and some of these names are already in public domain. So it's an opportunity to probe them. For example, the now new chief minister, I look forward to him being asked, what are you bringing new in terms of MDA service delivery? I have no doubts in him, but he's a politician, so I'm going to have the doubts in him because I'm a journalist. But I think he delivered. And now I want to see what he's planning in the first 100 days in office. But of course, more so, who is going to steer the ship in his absence at that basic ministry, that Ministry of Basic Education? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have somebody with the wherewithal, is it Emily Gogra? If it's Emily Gogra, she's been there. And she ought to have learned from David Senge very fast in learning some of. So I think we have got the right guy as chief minister. Unfortunately, he's my man, David Senge, but he went too low on the politics, and it's good that he recollected himself very quick. David Senge, you are above the green and the red politics of Sierra Leone, and if I'm going to give you an advice as a young man and as a Rasta man like you too, you are above SLPP, you are above APC politics. See yourself as the next generational leaders of Sierra Leone. So come to that office, bring the candor you brought to that Ministry of Basic, bring that data-driven and public administration. We have too many ministries that are irrelevant. We have so many people in the public service that are not doing anything. And I hope with David Senge, I am not over raising my expectation because he is a mortal man, SO2, and he is a politician. But knowing him for what he delivered, I think that's the kind of chief minister we want. And thanks so much to President Bio. It seems as if President Bio is sometimes listening to me. And I am pleased, though I don't have the commensurate return for that. But I go to bed and I feel fulfilled that some of these things we are saying, somebody is taking paying attention to them. Indeed. And particularly David Senge. It's been long I've been saying this guy, based on his results. So now, if you know you're a minister or permanent secretary that you're not delivering, you better go to learn at that basic education ministry and know what guy is coming in. But I'm sure it will bring something innovative. It will bring something modern and progressive to that chief minister's office. So for the others, they must deliver. They must.
We are also talking about the missing names. Names are missing. What's your take regarding those missing names, and what is what are your anticipations?
I think I mentioned President Bio is now SO2 praying in his bed. So whosoever that is a potential heir to that seat, President Bio is going to be watching them with that close eye. And I'm not surprised that the likes of the Francis, the likes of Dennis Vandi, the likes of what is his name, Jacob Jusu Safar, the likes of all those big names. And it seems as if even Prince Adin is being removed from his post. So two things to take away from there. If you know you belong put and the president in post, you are gone. And of course, another thing to draw, I'm being funny this morning. Another thing to draw parallels on is the fact that yes, it seems as if President Bio wants to deliver, he wants results this time around. And it's not about Paupa anymore. Paupa's all over better. No, now this time
is that your take regarding this appointment he has made?
I think it is prerogative, as I said earlier on. So the buck now is on their desk. What are they bringing for the first 100 days into office?
Okay.
What's their CVs? Are they experts in these areas? I did not hear anything about agriculture, which is the president's flagship. I don't know if it's an omission or perhaps I have not heard.
Yes,
but of
that's
course,
why
there is a need for a removal there too.
All right.
But thankfully, the Minister of Trade is gone, as predicted and preempted by so many people. And of course, we've not heard about new transport. We've not information and communication, fisheries, and so there are too many heads to roll.
Yes.
It's too early to say, but let's see the comprehensive list. Gender-wise, I think it's somehow sensitive, even if it's not balanced. I don't know about the youthful composition, but I think this means governance is on course. So those that are saying that, oh, the country, things are not moving, no. President Biyo is moving the country. He's now announced a new cabinet. In fact, some of the ministers were in Guinea-Bissau. Some of them are gone. So kudos to President Biyo.
Alhaji, quickly, what's your take also with regards to, do you see inclusion? Do you see this particular list as inclusive?
Yes, to some extent, looking at the various names that we have had, it's cut across. Some from Port Loko, Ujom, Bo, Moyamba, Falaba, even Western area. So I'm sure, you understand, the president is going to look into other areas. As you can see, we don't have other names like the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Information and Communication,
political affairs,
political affairs, even our regional resident ministers, they have not named them yet. So it's a wait and see. And also presidential spokesmen. All these are very important positions, you understand. I'm sure President will have to look into those areas and also look at people that people are going to be delivered, you understand. People who can deliver, you understand. So let's wait and see, okay? We are going to look for people who are going to deliver and also looking for the background where they come from and the issue of inclusivity and also the background where they come from, you understand, whether from the taking that those people coming from the east, the south, the north, and as well as in the western area. It's very important that we are going to give this position to look at people that have the competence to deliver. It's not just to just give them that, but people that are going to deliver. We all see that what David Senge, every Sierra Leonean, irrespective whether you're in SLPP or APC, you can appreciate the fact because he can able to deliver. You see, while he was in the Ministry of Education, a lot of progress, you understand. Maybe that's why the president decided to appoint a chief minister so that he can able to supervise. He has the technology so that he's going to do everything. And also looking at the Minister of Mines, yes, Julius Matai.
The fighter of all
that man is a very professional, you understand. He knows the issues.
I hope
I've known him, you understand. He knows the issues about our minerals, you understand. He is so concerned and passionate about the minerals. He's so concerned about how we are not getting the benefits. You understand? So now he's on top of situation. Definitely, I'm sure he's going to make a lot of movement. Okay? He must stand firm to ensure that what is right definitely is going to be. That's the man, you understand? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Bamichidi, just shortly, Mary said...
I am predicting as a presidential advisor position for him.
Predicting that you will be called soon as a presidential advisor. I wish you the best because that's a very good one.
On political and social affairs.
But what's your take regarding...
Let's come back to
yes, let's come back to base. Yes, and of course, the reality with regards to the list is called.
You asked a question. I think the reason why this comes out in piecemeal is to allow people to fill their forms to take it to Parliament. So they don't want to crowd the setting. So with that one in mind, after they've gone through that one, the next 1 week we will come with another list. At least, but at the same time, you were asking of inclusivity, and he was trying to explain some of these areas that some of them came from. But at the same time, it's for them to deliver the deliverables. That's why I've congratulated them and said, let them work hard. Because the nation is in a hurry. Whilst we are having to heal the cracks, the technocrats we are doing, they should deliver the deliverables. You are talking about qualification. The basic thing is common sense. How do you approach your human? You can have all the expertise, and if you can't handle your human relationship is slightly has an error, definitely you will not be able to say it's to accommodate, give and take, so that at least you can work with your professionals so that at the end of the day, you are able to deliver the deliverables. And which ones now we are looking at now is simple. After this set, there will be another set coming. And the inclusivity doesn't mean you have to be a cabinet minister. It can be you can come from other areas that your expertise will be needed and help in building the nation. Sierra Leone first.
And one point to note is that some of these ministers that have been shown the exit door, we hope that they will leave behind their handing over notes. We hope that proper handing over and transition will be done. And we don't expect people to leave office with their official properties.
Yeah.
They should be ready not to return their vehicles, return everything.
Park it there.
Because at the end of the day, it's not your personal property, it's the property of the people of Sierra Leone. So I look forward to on the news, former minister of so hands over to incoming minister. And in the process, there will be an handing over note as to the status of those ministries and how they've been transitioned from one hand to another. But I think this is progressive for our nation. It's a positive start of the week, and I hope the media will be carrying this story in different verses and chapters.
Yes, Melvin, I will still come to you regarding this particular appointment. And you are saying, you know, there are some names that you have not seen, and still we are waiting that the next list will be released shortly. But as we move ahead, we are talking about competency with regards to this position. And you were talking about Umaru Napoleon Nkrumah being the Deputy Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. Do you think most of these appointees are really apt in that position?
Yeah,
or in those positions?
Yeah, you're a very bad guy. You're putting me on the spot. And I know where you want to take me. And let me just quickly go there. The case of Umaru Napoleon Nkrumah, he is a political giant in the SLPP. Intellectually, he is very competent. He's of high caliber. But apparently, it's my opinion that his appointment, though the appointment is quite modest too, but he's very good at holding modest portfolios. He was Deputy Attorney General, now he's Deputy Mines Minister. I think my summary here is, if a lawyer is being placed in the office of, how can a lawyer become a miner? So that is the end of my, how can you know, mining is a specialized field. I'll be limited in my critiquing here because he is not the minister.
Yes,
in fact, he'll not be sitting in cabinet except otherwise. He's a deputy minister.
Maybe he will learn from the...
No, he should have learned from the Deputy Attorney General. That's the second or third most powerful position. He should have learned. I think he's not been... I don't think he's been promoted, but in the same vein, he's not been demoted. He's been stagnated. Apparently, if we are to use the lens of specialization, you cannot make a lawyer a miner. That is my end note.
Yes, with regards to competence and their aptness in the positions that they have given to them, how do you see this list?
Well, to me, looking at the appointment, it shows that President Bio carefully looked into these people before ever he made the appointment. He decided to leave the Attorney General Minister of Justice in the person of Mohamed Lamin Tawali, to continue there as Attorney General Minister of Justice. And he has also did very well in that ministry to ensure that we have justice, irrespective of political background or where you come from. That is why his office is always open to the public, so that you can explain to your complaint, so that whatever you have, so that the person, your case, so that people can have justice. So I think that one is very good. Now, the National Secretary General of the Sierra Leone People Party, Mr. Umaru Napoleon Nkrumah, was transferred to the Ministry of Mines. Yes, look at his qualifications. He's not okay with mining activities, but as a lawyer, definitely,
he deals with contracts.
Exactly, we follow the procedure.
Mining contracts.
We follow the procedures and definitely work with the minister, who is a technocrat and specialized and the mining areas. So that definitely I'm sure that he's going to learn based upon his knowledge, you understand? And now, looking at the area of the Ministry of Higher Education, yes, I think they have a new minister there. It's a woman.
So Alpha Wu is gone.
Haja Ramatulai.
Yeah, Haja Ramatulai. Then I don't know much about her, but the deputies still remain there. Aziz.
And Alpha Wu is gone.
Kamara. Of course, the minister disappeared. We don't know where he has gone.
No, we
The
know
minister-
where he's gone. He's
Maybe.
gone.
Yeah.
Let's wait and see.
Let's wait and see. because
Exactly,
there
you
are more
understand.
names
Because there are
to
more
come.
positions,
Yes,
you
there are
understand.
more positions
See?
that they have not called. So
Let us wait and see where they will be.
The president has the leverage to establish other
Exactly.
departments
So-
and agencies. So
Yes.
It's like he calls some at.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
ambassador.
that's the position. Let's wait and see, okay? Whereas others, and looking at Manti Tawali, who has done so well in the Ministry of Gender and Social Welfare and Children's Affairs, has now been transferred to the office of the Vice President and Minister of State. Okay? He also did very well. It's unfortunate. There now, people can look at it, it's a demotion. But the fact remains that it's part of the cabinet, you understand?
Yes, it's part of the
Yes,
He's
it's
the
part of
Minister
the
of
Minister of
State,
State, office of the Vice President. It's
yeah.
very important. So we hope that he's going to do very well there. Whereas the former Minister of State, in the person of Mrs. Algali, I think he was sent to
Foreign Affairs.
Foreign Affairs as deputy. Whereas our colleague, Mamadi Gobe Kamara, is nowhere to be found. Okay?
Maybe she's going to be the deputy minister of
Let's
Slash
wait and see.
Affairs.
But maybe the next appointment, if she's
the next
lucky,
list to be able
they
to
will
also
appoint-
get other
they
names.
will appoint her. Okay. So now look at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
Both the ministers and the deputy were fired. We don't know where they are at the moment, and they bring two people. They are fresh people. Let's see what they are going to do.
Governance.
That's
Yes,
all I have to say.
Honorable Mamechidi, quickly, what's your take regarding the positions and how apt are these appointees to these positions?
I said too much professionalism sometimes. You have a technocrat base. You have professionals manning these institutions. You, the minister, with your background and everything, can complement. But if you say you sabi everything, you might buck your foot with the professionals because they are charged with that responsibility. You are only on policies and to defend government policy.
Yeah.
So what your position you are doing as a technocrat, when you are going there, should be a different approach to make sure your human relationship makes you succeed. Now, David said, "If you work at St. John, you see people ask them questions."
Yeah. It was down to earth.
Yeah, at least they don't be
Come on, touch, yeah.
That's approach. That means he don't come out of the office, he come back and go and make sure say he dey in touch. Stay connected. That's what makes you successful. Like when they want to go every day, lock your glasses, people they say you connect to them. These are some of the things you have to be looking now and make sure you approach. That is why this president spend more time trying to appease the mistakes of his disciples. So every case they go talk for big normal. So it took him more time. So this time around, let our technocrats, our ministers change their approach. They should be people-oriented.
I think I will just buttress Honorable Chidi's point on the need for ministers to be down to earth. I look forward in this second term of President Bio that at least he spares one day to go and check at ministries, departments, and agencies.
Exactly.
And for these ministers themselves to go on the field, especially on existing projects that have been implemented. We need hands-on, we said it earlier on, hands-on governance this time around, not that aristocratic. And Honorable Bamichidi, you talk about ministers not feeling too bossy.
Yeah.
And that's going to be my first fear in this cabinet. The person that I know in Julius Matai feels he knows everything. And if you are an official at the Ministry of Mines, please brace up for uncertain times. Because this guy has been in charge of NMA.
Yeah, for a long time.
While he was the DG at NMA, he in fact collided with a parliamentary mines committee over a decision to withhold certain licenses of
Was he
certain
not at the Petroleum Directorate?
He was at that directory before he was. So he has been there, and this is a person who feels he knows everything. And I hope he will understand that he is now coming to sit as a cabinet minister. of a very critical ministry. If it's about experience in the ministry, of course, Matai has got the experience. But you should not be, as those MPs in Parliament used to say, overqualified when you are working in the public service. Because you have people that are there. You can never be overqualified in the public service because you have people. So you need to, it needs to understand that he's coming now as a cabinet minister. I think he fought for that position. Looking at his relationship with Rado, looking at his relationship. I think Timothy Kaba is a strong guy too. He's a very strong guy. There were lots of disagreements at that Mines Ministry over agreements, over certain decisions, over certain procedures, and even certain legislations. So for me, Mr. Matai, I would want to wish you well, but you need to have a rethink on your approach. One man on the Sabi old thing. And this is Sierra Leone. If you feel like you know too much, you're going to be hated for that. And you are now going into a cabinet ministry.
All right, as time is closing very close to us, let's just go over this list. I've been sent this list. Let me just go over it quickly. The general public is hereby informed that it has pleased His Excellency the President, Brigadier Retired Dr. Julius Madabio, to announce the following appointments to Cabinet. 1, Dr. David Monina Senge, Chief Minister. 2, Mr. Muhammad Lamin Tawali, Attorney General and Minister of Justice. 3, Mr. Sheku Ahmed Fatamadi Bangura, Minister of Finance. 4, Mr. Timothy Musa Kaba, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. And of course, 5, Dr. Ramatulai Wuri Haja, Minister of Technical and Higher Education. 6, Mr. Conrad Saki, Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. 7, Mr. Ibrahim Alpha Sise, Minister of Trade and Industry. 8, Mr. Julius Mata, Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. 9, Ms. Manti Tawali, Minister of State, Office of the Vice President. 10, Mrs. Jeneba Bangura, Deputy Minister 1, Ministry of Finance. 11, Mr. Bokari Kaloko, Deputy Minister 2, Ministry of Finance. 12, Mrs. Frances Peggy Algali, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. And 13, Mr. Sajo Aziz Kamara, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. And 14, Mrs. Let me get it clear. Mrs. Emily K. Gogra, Deputy Minister 1, Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. 15, Mrs. Mamusu Masakoy, Deputy Minister 2, Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. 16, Mrs. Fatmata Wuri, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. 17, Mr. Umaru Napoleon Kruma, Deputy Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources. Other appointments. 1, Mr. Matthew Dingy, Financial Secretary. 2, Mr. Yankuba Askia Bio, General Manager, Sierra Leone Ports Authority. And 3, Mrs. Judith Kose, Deputy Director General, Sierra Leone Ports Authority. And 4, Mr. Brahma Soare, Commissioner General, National Revenue Authority. 5, Mrs. Anne-Marie Hardin, Deputy Commissioner General 1, National Revenue Authority. And 6, Mr. Girard Ganda, Deputy Commissioner General 2, National Revenue Authority. And 7, Mr. Amara Briwa, Director General, National Communications Authority. And 8, Mrs. Maria Makuruma, Deputy Commissioner General, National Communications Authority. That ends it. And of course, as we are very close to our closing time. Yes, Melvin, you know, that's the list, and of course we are anticipating that another list to be out. But as we leave the studios, we are seeing that there has been an outcry with regards to, you know, some people left out. You know, I know we'll discuss that in another program. So yes, finally, what will be your parting statement as we leave the studio?
President Bio is busy with governance and is now governing. And for me, the positive message there is he is now attempting to divorce partisan politics from governance.
Okay.
And I think some of the people that he has brought in, particularly the chief minister, deserves that. And it means President Biya has been listening. It is his right, it is his prerogative. We can only recommend or suggest names, but it's up to him to recycle, to promote, demote, or in this case, exclude whosoever he feels like in his cabinet. We hope that the newcomers will govern rather than politics. And we hope that this time around Parliament will do diligence in scrutinizing their CVs. We don't want to wait after a minister has been sacked or when a minister is grossly underperforming, we begin to say, oh, where were they when they approved this minister? So I think President Biya has done his job. It's up to all of us now to scrutinize these people and make sure that we support them, that they can deliver for and on behalf of every Sierra Leonean. If they succeed, it's Sierra Leone that succeeds. If they fail, all of us have failed.
Yes, quickly, Alhaji.
Well, I wish all the appointees best of luck in their new appointments and hope that they are going to deliver, because the people of Sierra Leone want to see changes in their life and try to improve the economy. We want to thank His Excellency for listening to the views of Sierra Leoneans, wherein they said that they want many women to take positive positions. And that's exactly what have manifested in this new list of appointments. We see various women taking positions. We hope that it will continue so that women can have positions so that they can be in a position to govern us. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Mamichidi, what's your parting word?
To me, it's good luck with them in the new appointment, preferment, and make sure you think Sierra Leone hands-on for the development and prosperity of Sierra Leone. All these minor things, let us lay it aside and think Sierra Leone.
Indeed, let's think Sierra Leone, and many, many thanks to my discussants this morning. Of course, I had Melvin Mansare, a journalist and a political analyst. I had Alhaji Saidu Kamara, a journalist also, and Honorable Bamichidi, who's also a journalist and a political, who's also a political analyst. You know, almost a journalist, I would say. Many thanks to you guys, and of course, this has been Front Page, an extension of it because of the announcement we had from State House with new appointments of cabinet positions and also other appointments. Many thanks to the production team for making this program a success, and of course, to the entire technical team. Till then, tomorrow, we'll be here again with another edition of Front Page, which comes to you 11 a.m. to 12 midday every day. But of course, today there was an extension, or there is an extension because of the announcement of the new positions right here on this set of the Salon side. Till then, it has been Albert Judge Sheriff. Many, many thanks again for watching and listening. I'll say goodbye.